Chapter 3745. This time, Xochitl had swallowed a few extraordinary treasures in the heart of the heavenly eclipse divine kingdom. The iron rod, and most importantly, the silver spear, were definitely extraordinary. Even though it was broken, it still caused an intense battle between divine emperors. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, Kayukyu's aura skyrocketed. Fortunately, Lu Ming had set up a formation in advance, otherwise, it would have alerted the people outside. After 3 days, Xochitl's aura finally stabilized, indicating that it had completed its evolution. Quasi-Emperor. Even though he was mentally prepared, Lu Ming's heart still skipped a beat. Xochitl's breakthrough this time was too great. Its cultivation had skyrocketed, breaking through many levels and reaching the Quasi-Emperor realm. It was only a step away from the Divine Emperor realm. Comfortable. This is too comfortable. Xochitl jumped back and forth in the air. His body was constantly changing, turning into an iron rod, then a battle sword, then a silver spear. These were the treasures that Xochitl had swallowed before. A silver spear? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Xochitl, come here. Let me try turning into a spear. All right. Xochitl flew into Lu Ming's hand and turned into a silver spear. Lu Ming held it in his hand. Immediately, Lu Ming felt a surge of energy in Xochitl's body, as if it was about to burst out. Let's try it in the starry sky. Lu Ming left the inn. Not long after, he arrived at a barren starry sky. Buzz. The silver spear in his hand shuddered and stabbed forward. Whoosh. The space collapsed, and a pitch-black spatial crack appeared, extending forward. It was unknown how long it was, but wherever it passed, all the meteorites were pierced. Such power. Lu Ming was pleasantly surprised. He felt that even without his cooperation, Xochitl could fight against a first-layer divine emperor or even kill him. In other words, Xochitl's strength was now above his. Amazing. Haha. Lu Ming was very happy. With Xochitl's help, his strength had greatly increased. Previously, even with the help of the gravity pearl, he could only fight against one divine emperor. If there were too many divine emperors, he would be in danger and would have to flee. For example, when fighting for the silver spear, or when facing the 4 divine emperor realm puppets. But with Xochitl's help, he could fight against these people and even defeat them. If Xochitl was as powerful as it was now when he faced the 4 divine emperor realm iron-armored puppets, Lu Ming would have an easy time. Next, Lu Ming tested it again and was very satisfied. Xochitl transformed back into a bracelet and wore it on Lu Ming's wrist. Next, it's time to find out about the recruitment of the heavenly soldiers and the requirements. Lu Ming pondered and returned to planet Shangchuan. On Shangchuan planet, commerce was very developed. People came and went, and naturally, news was also very smooth. Lu Ming easily found out everything about the heavenly palace's recruitment. However, Lu Ming frowned again. This was because one of the heavenly soldiers' recruitment requirements was very disadvantageous to Lu Ming. Once one became a heavenly soldier of the heavenly palace, the heavenly palace would investigate the person's background. However, Lu Ming's current body was a forbidden body. He could not use the identity of Lu Ming. The identity of Mu Yun that he used appeared out of thin air. A person who appeared out of thin air, even if he passed through layers of screening, the heavenly palace would not want him. He would even be suspected by the heavenly palace. In other words, if he wanted to become a heavenly soldier, sneak into the heavenly palace, and find out about the mid-autumn moon, he needed a reasonable identity. However, divine sovereigns were able to determine a person's identity through their life essence. It was very difficult to impersonate someone's life essence. Although he cultivated the severing 3 corpses technique, he had severed his past and present bodies. His current life essence had already changed. It had become a new life essence, but it could not become someone else's life essence. Therefore, if he wanted to secretly kill someone and impersonate them, it was almost impossible. Unless those people who knew him and wanted to impersonate him helped him hide it. Wait, it might not be impossible to hide it for me. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Although it was a bit inconceivable, it might not be impossible if he did it properly. However, he needed to find an opportunity. Lu Ming carefully thought about it. Slowly, a plan appeared in his mind. First, I need to find a faction that is qualified to participate in the Heavenly Palace's Heavenly Soldier selection. However, this faction cannot be too strong. Lu Ming muttered. After making up his mind, Lu Ming did not stay. He directly left planet and continued south. Such a suitable faction needed to be found. The great desolate universe was vast and boundless. Even divine sovereigns would not be able to detect the borders in their entire lives. In the boundless universe, there were countless galaxies and star fields. Some of the star fields that were closer to each other formed a star field cluster. There were big and small star field clusters. Some small star field clusters were made up of hundreds and thousands of star fields. Some large star field clusters were made up of millions or even tens of millions of star fields. The territory was terrifyingly large. Some terrifying large clans often controlled such a huge star field cluster. On this day, Lu Ming went through a wormhole and arrived at the Iron Sea Star Field Cluster. The Iron Sea Star Field Cluster could only be considered a middle-low star field cluster. The entire star field cluster was made up of more than 10,000 star fields. This place was ruled by 18 powerful universe-level factions. Planet Aquamarine was a bustling planet. Lu Ming walked on the streets of Planet Aquamarine and inquired about the news. This was because the Iron Sea Star Cluster was Lu Ming's target this time. The 18 universe-level factions in the Iron Sea Star Cluster were qualified to participate in the selection of the Heavenly Palace's heaven-level soldiers. However, their strength was not particularly strong, which was just right for Lu Ming's target. Sigh. The competition between the 18 factions has become more and more intense recently. Isn't that so? The Resource Alliance is about to expire. The resources controlled by each faction are about to change greatly. Now, each faction is crazily plundering resources in secret. Not only are they plundering their own resources, but they are also plundering others' resources. Yeah, some factions secretly sent people to impersonate interstellar pirates to attack the resource planets of other factions. The war is very intense. Every force is doing the same thing. I'm afraid the chaos this time will only stop when the Resource Alliance reconvenes. This time, I wonder which faction will be able to get the best resources. Lu Ming used his heavenly ear ability and information was transmitted to Lu Ming's ears. Resource Alliance? Lu Ming was curious and deliberately asked someone to inquire about it. After asking, Lu Ming smiled. He knew that his chance had come. Lu Ming left Planet Aquamarine and headed towards some remote resource planets to find an opportunity to strike. Chapter 3746. Through Lu Ming's inquiries, he knew that the situation in the Iron Sea Star Zone was special. There were a total of 18 universe-level forces in the Iron Sea Star Zone. These 18 universe-level forces occupied some of the best resource planets in the Iron Sea Star Zone. A long time ago, the various forces in the Iron Sea Star Zone fought for resources, and it was extremely tragic. Later, under the leadership of the Heavenly Palace's emissary, the 18 universe-level forces reached an agreement and set up a resource alliance. Every once in a while, there would be a distribution of resource planets. Now, it was almost time for a new resource alliance. The resource planets controlled by the various forces would undergo a major reshuffle. Therefore, this period of time was also the most chaotic period. The various forces sent out their experts, pretending to be interstellar pirates, to plunder the resources of other forces. This was because no one knew how the resource planets would be distributed after the Resource Alliance was signed. Lu Ming passed by a few resource planets consecutively, but he did not find a good opportunity to make a move. A month later, Blood Jade Resource Planet. This resource planet produced a kind of treasure called Blood Jade. The Blood Jade contained a mysterious energy that could be absorbed by cultivators to strengthen their vitality and divine body. It was very precious and was controlled by the Fengdu Sword Sect, one of the 18 universe-level forces in the Iron Sea Star Zone. At this time, a fierce battle was happening on the Blood Jade Resource Planet. A group of black-robed men surrounded the Blood Jade Resource Planet and fought fiercely with the Fengdu Sword Sect. Which force are you from? Don't think that we won't know just because you're pretending to be interstellar pirates. A young woman in the Fengdu Sword Sect shouted. This young woman looked to be in her 20s. She wore a green swordsman's robe and looked valiant. She formed a sword seal, and a divine sword floated above her head. It burst out sharp sword rays and slashed at the black-robed men. One of the black-robed men waved his palm. Blood chi filled the air and blocked the sword rays. Han Xiling is indeed a prodigy of the Fengdu sword sect. Her cultivation has reached the 6th level of the Divine Lord realm at such a young age. However, in front of me, she's still far from it. Hee hee. The black-robed man sneered. His palm energy surged and pressed toward Han Xiling. This person had 9th level Divine Lord cultivation. Even if Han Xiling's talent was unparalleled, it was also hard to resist. Fortunately, a Fengdu sword sect powerhouse beside her helped her block this blow. We'll hold off the Fengdu sword sect. The rest of you, go and snatch the blood jade. That 9th level Divine Lord black-robed man transmitted the order. Yes. Around them, many black-robed men charged towards the blood rain mines to plunder the blood jade. Black Blood Hall's devil. Han Xiling gritted her teeth. Although these people were wearing black robes, Han Xiling and the others still recognized them easily. They were from Black Blood Hall, one of the 18 universe-level powers in the Iron Sea Star Zone. But so what if he recognized her? Before the new resource treaty was signed, the major forces plundered each other. This was an unwritten rule for many years. If others plundered the Fengdu sword sect, the Fengdu sword sect would also send people to plunder the resources of other forces. That would depend on who was stronger. Those who were strong could plunder others to their heart's content, while those who were weak could only passively take a beating. Of course, there was a consensus among them that they would not send out divine emperors. This was because divine emperors were the strongest among universe-level powers. Once a divine emperor was sent out, it would evolve into a full-scale war and the situation would be out of control. Hence, not sending out divine emperors was an unwritten rule. Whichever force sent out divine emperors would be jointly attacked by the other forces. This time, it was the Black Blood Hall that sent out their experts to plunder the Fengdu sword sect's blood jade mines. Although the Fengdu sword sect had sent out experts to guard the mines, the Black Blood Hall had sent out more and stronger experts. After all, there were many resource planets under the Fengdu sword sect that needed to be guarded. It was impossible for them to have sufficient experts to guard the planets. There were not many experts guarding the Blood Jade planet. At this moment, the Fengdu sword sect's defenses had long been breached. A large number of Black Blood Hall experts had rushed into the Blood Jade planet and were frantically plundering the Blood Jade mines. The Fengdu sword sect people could only watch helplessly as they could not stop them. Not to mention stopping them, it would be considered good if they could keep their lives. Good chance. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He had decided to take action and assist the Fengdu sword sect. Lu Ming stepped into the air and headed towards the Blood Jade planet. He did not hide his figure and his aura spread out. As soon as Lu Ming approached the Blood Jade planet, the Fengdu sword sect and Black Blood Hall people noticed him. In the beginning, both sides were shocked. However, when they saw that Lu Ming was only a 5th level Divine Lord, they did not pay much attention to him. Kid, this is not a place where you can come. Hurry up and get lost. Someone from the Black Blood Hall shouted coldly. This person's aura was extremely violent. He was a quasi-emperor. Get lost? I think the ones who should get lost are you. This is the resource planet of the Fengdu sword sect. What are you doing here? Lu Ming shouted coldly. The Fengdu sword sect people were slightly stunned. They did not expect Lu Ming to be on their side. It was a pity that Lu Ming was only a 5th level Divine Lord. Even if he was on their side, it was useless. The Black Blood Hall people did not place Lu Ming in their sights even more. Turns out that you're also a member of the Fengdu sword sect. Go, kill him. That quasi-emperor powerhouse shouted coldly. I'll kill him. A black-robed person immediately flew out, flying over towards Lu Ming. A layer of blood-red fog spread towards Lu Ming. The smell of blood assailed the nostrils. This person was a 7th level Divine Lord existence. They did not dispatch a 6th level Divine Lord person to kill Lu Ming because Lu Ming looked very young. Being able to reach 5th level Divine Lord at a young age, he was most likely a Heaven's chosen figure. His combat power was definitely not weak. But 7th level Divine Lord was a full 2 levels higher. The way they saw it, it was more than sufficient. In a twinkle, the blood-red fog was about to envelop Lu Ming. Be careful. This blood fog is extremely corrosive. Quickly avoid it. In Bloodjade Planet, Han Xiling shouted a reminder. Although Lu Ming seemed to be somewhat overestimating his own ability, just 5th level Divine Lord and running out foolishly, Lu Ming stood on the Fengdu sword sect side after all. Standing out was with good intentions. She also could not bear to see Lu Ming be killed here. But Lu Ming did not care in the slightest, allowing the blood fog to envelop him. Sigh. Han Xiling sighed lightly, not quite understanding why Lu Ming was so foolish, not even running. It was simply courting death in vain. The rest of the Fengdu sword sect thought so too. Ha ha ha, truly a fool. Go to hell. That person from the Black Blood Hall revealed a hideous smile. It was as if he already saw the scene of Lu Ming turning into white bones in the blood fog. His blood fog, forget about 5th level Divine Lords, even if they were similarly 7th level Divine Lords, they would be extremely wary, not daring to be enveloped by his blood fog. Otherwise, it would be dangerous. And a 5th level Divine Lord, it was really not too simple. Chapter 3747. Chi-Chi. The blood mist shrouded Lu Ming, emitting sizzling sounds. The powerful corrosive force wanted to corrode Lu Ming's physical body. But not even a single hair on Lu Ming's body was corroded. He did not feel anything at all. Just this bit of power? Lu Ming revealed a look of disappointment. He originally still wanted to see how great the power of this blood mist was, see if he could borrow the power of the blood mist to stimulate his potential and let his cultivation increase again. He did not expect that the difference was really too great. Even if he stood here without moving, not even a single hair on his body could be corroded. This was also normal. Hair was also made up of cells and also contained taboo power. How could a mere 7th level Divine Lord possibly destroy it? Boring. Lu Ming's indifferent voice came out. Then he took a step out and arrived in front of this 7th level Divine Lord existence from Black Blood Hall. How is this possible? This Black Blood Hall expert could not help opening his eyes wide. Lu Ming was actually unscathed. This did not make sense. Lu Ming could not be bothered to talk nonsense with him. His palm was like a blade, chopping out. A blade-type secret art erupted in his palm. A blade light flashed. This Black Blood Hall 7th level Divine Lord existence was directly cleaved into 2 halves, falling on the spot. This person fell. The blood mist naturally dissipated. Seeing this scene, everyone could not help opening their eyes wide. Lu Ming actually killed this 7th level Divine Lord existence so easily. A 5th level Divine Lord's combat power was actually so strong? Han Xiling was known as one of Fengdu's sword sect's few heaven's pride. But in the Divine Lord realm, she could not cross 2 levels to battle. Be careful. This kid has a treasure that can resist the blood mist corrosion. Don't use the blood mist to deal with him. Directly attack him with powerful force. A 5th level Divine Lord wanting to play tricks in front of this old man. He's still a little too tender. A quasi-emperor from Black Blood Hall shouted coldly. He thought that Lu Ming had a treasure on him that could resist the blood mist corrosion. That was why he was safe and sound. Just now, that 7th level Divine Monarch expert from Black Blood Hall was a little dazed because he was careless and saw that Lu Ming was fine in the blood fog. That was why Lu Ming seized the opportunity to kill him. As long as they didn't use any treasures, they could crush Lu Ming with their powerful strength. Lu Ming would die without a doubt. He thought that he had seen through Lu Ming's little trick clearly. Lu Ming wanted to use this to scare them off. How was that possible? Did he think he was a 3-year-old child? Was he that easy to scare? What a joke. So that's how it is. Damn it. I'll go kill him. I'm going too. 2 bad-tempered experts from the Black Blood Hall rushed towards Lu Ming. One was a 7th level Divine Lord. The other reached 8th level Divine Lord. This time, they didn't use the blood fog. Instead, they used their powerful strength to suppress Lu Ming. 2 blood-colored palm prints condensed and blasted towards Lu Ming. The energy surged and the power was shockingly strong. In the blink of an eye, they arrived in front of Lu Ming. Weak and powerless, Lu Ming shook his head casually. He stepped forward and slashed out with his palm. Poof, poof. A saber light flashed and the two palm prints dissipated. Even the two experts from Black Blood Hall were cut into two. Then, the remaining two parts of their bodies exploded and their bodies and souls were destroyed. Instant kill. It was still an instant kill. Lu Ming could kill quasi-emperors with ease now. 8th and 7th level divine monarchs were as weak as ants in front of him. Everyone at the scene widened their eyes again. The quasi-emperor from Black Blood Hall, who thought that he had seen through everything, opened his mouth wide and couldn't close it for a long time. Then, his eyes were filled with hatred and killing intent. Lu Ming was simply giving him a slap in the face. And it was a resounding slap. He felt that his face was going to turn into a pig's head. How dare you kill people from Black Blood Hall? Kid, you're courting death. The quasi-emperor from the Black Blood Hall flew into a rage out of humiliation. With a roar, he actually took action personally. He transformed into a beam of bloodlight and dashed toward Lu Ming. A blood-colored saber gleam slashed toward Lu Ming. How powerful was a quasi-emperor when he attacked? Be careful, retreat quickly, Han Xiling exclaimed. She didn't want to see such a powerful genius fall just like that. However, Lu Ming's expression remained calm. There was a hint of disdain in his calmness. To be honest, along the way, he had encountered quasi-emperors from the Frost Moon Vine race, Heavenly Locust race, and Winged Min race. The quasi-emperors from these powerful races were all stronger than the quasi-emperor from Black Blood Hall. In his opinion, the other party was weak and powerless. It wouldn't be of any use to him to train. It seems that the only ones who can make me feel pressure and stimulate my potential are divine sovereigns. Lu Ming muttered and then punched. Boom. The other party's blood-colored saber light directly collapsed. The fist energy didn't stop and bombarded the other party's body. The quasi-emperor from Black Blood Hall didn't even have time to scream before his body exploded and his soul was extinguished. Silence. The scene fell into a deathly silence. Everyone's eyes and mouths were wide open as they stared blankly at Lu Ming. A 5th-level Divine Lord had killed a quasi-emperor with one punch. How was that possible? Were their eyes playing tricks on them? Could Lu Ming have been hiding his cultivation base? However, they definitely weren't mistaken. Lu Ming was indeed a 5th-level Divine Lord. He definitely hadn't been hiding it. A 5th-level Divine Lord instantly killing a quasi-emperor. What kind of talent was that? What kind of monster was that? If you don't want to die, scram. Lu Ming roared. A cold aura surged towards the people from Black Blood Hall. Kid, who are you? How dare you kill people from Black Blood Hall? Just wait for our revenge. Someone from Black Blood Hall roared. Still not leaving? Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. He took a step forward, and the void shook violently. A wave of energy swept towards the people from Black Blood Hall. In an instant, hundreds of people were swept in by the wave of energy. They screamed and then lost all signs of life. It didn't matter if they were 7th-level Divine Lords, 8th-level Divine Lords, 9th-level Divine Lords, or even quasi-emperors. Instant kill. Go quickly. Retreat quickly. The people from Black Blood Hall were finally afraid. They roared in horror and flew into the distance. Those who were snatching blood jade didn't dare to stay either. They wished they could grow a few more legs and quickly flew into the starry sky. The people from Black Blood Hall on Blood Jade Planet all ran away in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming's combat strength was too strong. He had killed a quasi-emperor instantly. It was useless to rely on numbers. Unless a divine emperor took action, they would die if they didn't run. The people from Fengdu's sword sect were stunned and even forgot to chase. It took them a while to react. Brother, thank you for your help. Han Xiling flew over and cupped her fists to thank him. You're welcome. My ancestor was once on good terms with Fengdu's sword sect. He was traveling here and happened to encounter such a thing. How could he just stand by and watch? Lu Ming smiled. Your ancestor was on good terms with Fengdu's sword sect? Han Xiling and the other people from Fengdu's sword sect's eyes lit up. They didn't have much doubt. After all, Lu Ming was a monster who exceeded common sense. There was no need for him to lie to them. Chapter 3748. Han Xiling's beautiful eyes flickered as she said, I'm Han Xiling. How should I address you? Mu Yun. Lu Ming said. So it's Brother Mu. Thank you for your help this time. The Plentiful City Sword Sect will remember your kindness. Brother Mu, please come to the Plentiful City Sword Sect and let them express their gratitude. Han Xiling said. Hearing Han Xiling's words, the eyes of the Plentiful City Sword Sect's people lit up. They knew what Han Xiling was thinking. The Resource Alliance was to redistribute the resource planets. To occupy good resources, it was completely dependent on strength. Therefore, the 18 forces would send some people to compete. Those who participated in the competition were all from the younger generation. The competition between the younger generation could be the geniuses nurtured by the sect, or they could ask for external help. After all, to be able to ask for external help was a reflection of one's connections. Connections were also a kind of strength. Lu Ming's combat power was really heaven-defying. Such a strong combat power was definitely a strong external help. Obviously, Han Xiling wanted to invite Lu Ming to the Feng City Sword Sect, and then find an opportunity to ask Lu Ming to be the external aid of the Feng City Sword Sect and help them. All right, Lu Ming nodded. He was happy, but his expression did not change. He was not happy about the Plentiful City Sword Sect. He was happy that his plan was halfway to success. His motive was very simple. He wanted to display his powerful abilities so that the Feng City Sword Sect would take a liking to his abilities and invite him to help the Feng City Sword Sect in the battle for resources. In that case, Lu Ming would be able to raise some conditions. Seeing Lu Ming nod, Han Xiling and the Plentiful City Sword Sect's people were overjoyed. Next, they came to the resource planet. There was a large hall here, which was the residence of the Guardian. The Plentiful City Sword Sect held a banquet to thank Lu Ming for his help. During the banquet, there was naturally a tide of flattery, turning Lu Ming into a rare, monstrous genius. To be honest, a large part of it was their heartfelt words. A 5th-level Divine Lord could insta-kill a quasi-emperor. Such a monstrous genius, let alone seeing it, they had never even heard of it. In their eyes, Lu Ming was a rare, monstrous genius. After 3 rounds of wine, they left one after another. The next day, Lu Ming and Han Xiling set off for the headquarters of the Fengdu Sword Sect. The others couldn't leave with them. They had to guard this place. The headquarters of Fengdu Sword Sect was called Fengdu Star. It was huge and prosperous. Even in the starry sky, one could see mountain peaks that towered into the clouds like divine swords. It was as if countless divine swords were stabbed into the ground. On Fengdu Star, there were such mountains everywhere. They flew towards the most majestic mountain peak. From afar, they could see dazzling sword lights dancing in the air. Those were the experts of the Fengdu Sword School. The Feng City Sword Sect, amongst the universe-level powers, was considered not bad. There were not just 1 or 2 godly emperors, there were at least hundreds of them. Although it couldn't be compared to the powerful races on the primitive 10,000 races list, it was considered below average among the universe-level powers. Compared to the Taishu dynasty, a pseudo-universe-level power, it was unknown how many times worse it was. With Han Xiling leading the way, they were unimpeded and came to the highest sword-shaped mountain peak. On the peak of the sword-shaped mountain peak, a magnificent palace was built. This was the core of the Fengdu Sword Sect. They landed on the square outside. Brother Lu, wait for me here first. I'll go in and report the situation on Bloodjade Planet. Han Xiling said. Okay. Lu Ming nodded. Han Xiling flew into the main hall and went to report. Lu Ming wandered around the edge of the square. This mountain peak towered into the clouds as if it was connected to the sky. One could look up at the starry sky. Looking down, one could see the endless mountains and rivers. It was magnificent. Such a tall mountain peak. Ordinary people naturally couldn't come up. If they couldn't breathe, they would suffocate to death. Of course, for cultivators, there was no problem at all. In less than 10 minutes, dozens of figures flew out of the main hall. Han Xiling was among them. Most of the others were middle-aged men and old men. Only a few young people were among them. Everyone's eyes fell on Lu Ming. They were full of curiosity and disbelief. Han Xiling had already explained the situation on Bloodjade Planet in detail. It was Lu Ming who saved them. Lu Ming defeated the people of the Black Blood Hall with his own strength. Moreover, His combat strength was so terrifying that he could easily kill a quasi-emperor. Was it possible for a 5th-level divine lord to easily kill a quasi-emperor? Brother Mu, this is our sect leader. Sect leader Wang. Han Xiling pointed to a kind old man and introduced. Junior Mu Yun greets sect leader Wang. Lu Ming clasped his fists. Little brother, you're too polite. This time, it's all thanks to your help that the losses on Blood Jade Planet were prevented. I thank you on behalf of Fengdu Planet. Sect leader Wang said with a smile. You're too polite. My ancestor and Fengdu Sword Sect are old friends. Since I've met you, I naturally won't stand by and do nothing. Lu Ming said, You're acting so well. At this moment, a discordant voice sounded. Everyone looked over. It was one of the young men who had spoken. The young man looked to be in his 20s. His face was cold, and he was wearing a purple swordsman robe. He exuded a sharp aura. Wang Zhanke, what do you mean by that? Han Xiling glared at him and said coldly, You know better than me what I mean. A 5th-level divine lord can kill a quasi-emperor? And it's so easy. Do you think we're fools? Do you think the sect leader and the elders are fools? Wang Zhanke sneered, his tone full of sarcasm. What I said is true. Not only was I present that day, many of my fellow sect members were present on Blood Jade Planet. If you don't believe me, you can ask them to confront you. Han Xiling said, cursing Wang Zhanke 1,000 times in her heart. She was well aware of Lu Ming's combat strength. Such a prodigy was usually arrogant. She still wanted to recruit Lu Ming as the external aid of the Fengdu Sword Sect and help them participate in the Resource Alliance. With Lu Ming joining, the Fengdu Sword Sect's strength would skyrocket. But Wang Zhanke actually said such a thing. She was really afraid that Lu Ming would leave in a rage. Han Xiling, are you having an affair with this kid? You want to praise this kid, but you're praising him too much. A 5th-level divine lord can kill a quasi-emperor. Haha. Wang Zhanke sneered, his sarcasm growing. When he looked at Lu Ming, the depths of his eyes were full of resentment. He was also one of the few prodigies of the Fengdu Sword Sect. Moreover, he liked Han Xiling and had pursued her crazily, but Han Xiling did not care about him at all. This caused his anger to soar to the skies. And now, Han Xiling actually praised Lu Ming so much. He thought that Lu Ming and Han Xiling definitely had an affair. He resented Lu Ming even more. How can this kid compare to me? Wang Zhanke roared in his heart. He wished he could trample Lu Ming under his feet and let Han Xiling see who was the real genius. Chapter 3749. Wang Zhanke, you're talking nonsense. Han Xiling was so angry that her face turned red. Her delicate body trembled as she glared at Wang Zhanke. I'm talking nonsense? Haha, a 5th-stage divine lord could easily kill a quasi-emperor and defeat so many experts of the Black Blood Hall. Even a fool would know that such a ridiculous reason is fake. You're praising this kid so much. If you're not having an affair with him, what is it? I really didn't expect that Han Xiling was such a woman. To think that I treated you so well in the past. Disgusting. Wang Zhanke sneered. During this process, sect leader Wang and the others of the Fengdu Sword Sect did not speak. To be honest, they did not quite believe that what Han Xiling said was true because it was too exaggerated and unbelievable. It was not a bad idea to let Wang Zhanke try. Lu Ming watched coldly from the side. He knew what these people were thinking. He was not angry but happy. This Wang Zhanke was really too cute. He was helping him. He naturally knew that it was difficult to convince people with Han Xiling's words alone. If he wanted to convince the people of the Fengdu Sword Sect and even ask him for help, he had to show strong strength. Originally, he was thinking about how to find an excuse to show his strength. Look, Wang Zhanke sent himself to his door. Xiling, who is this guy? Why is he spewing nonsense like a fool? Lu Ming deliberately walked closer to Han Xiling and called her intimately. He glanced at Wang Zhanke disdainfully. Me? Hearing Lu Ming call her so intimately, Han Xiling blushed and did not know what to do for a moment. Seeing Han Xiling's appearance, it confirmed that Han Xiling and Lu Ming were having an affair. Wang Zhanke completely exploded. The flames of jealousy burst out from his body as if he was about to explode. In an instant, his eyes turned red. He stared at Lu Ming and roared, "Kid, what did you say?" What did you say? Look, my ears are not working. Lu Ming sighed. Boom. Wang Zhangke completely exploded. Flames of anger spewed out from every pore on his body. Today, if he did not ruthlessly beat up Lu Ming, he would die from his anger. 5th-level divine lords can kill quasi-emperors. Then let me try and see if it's true. Wang Zhangke roared as a powerful aura erupted from him. His sword chi soared into the sky. Clang. Unsheathing his long sword, Wang Zhangke became one with his sword and transformed into a resplendent sword light, thrusting towards Lu Ming at an astonishing speed. Wang Zhangke was also a 6th-level divine lord cultivation. His talent was extremely high, and he was one of the few heavens chosen of the plentiful city sword sect. When he erupted with full power, at the divine lord realm, he could cross a realm to battle, challenging 7th-level divine lord existences. In the divine lord realm, to be able to jump a level to battle, one was already an incredible genius. As for a stage 5 divine lord killing a quasi-emperor, he would not believe it even if he was beaten to death. The sword light was incomparably sharp. It pierced through the void and pierced toward Lu Ming's throat. Sect leader Wang and the others stared unblinkingly, wanting to see how Lu Ming would block this move. Of course, he was prepared to make a move at any time. If Lu Ming was not a match and encountered danger and was about to be killed, he would make a move to save Lu Ming. After all, Lu Ming had no enmity with them. Moreover, he seemed to have a very good relationship with Han Xiling. They could not let Lu Ming die here and disappoint Han Xiling. Han Xiling was also one of the few heavens chosen of the plentiful city sword sect. It looked like Wang Zhangke's sword light was about to pierce Lu Ming's glabella. Lu Ming still did not move. It's indeed fake. Sect leader Wang sighed in his heart. Although his rationality told him that what Han Xiling said previously was most likely fake, and perhaps the relationship between Han Xiling and Lu Ming was really like what Wang Zhangke said, but in the depths of his heart, he was still holding onto a trace of fantasy that it was true. Then, he definitely would not hesitate to invite Lu Ming to be the external aid of the plentiful city sword sect to participate in the resource alliance this time. Although the probability was very small and almost impossible, he activated the divine power in his body and was about to make a move to save Lu Ming. But in the next moment, his movements suddenly stiffened. Because at this time, Lu Ming had already moved. Lu Ming casually stretched out 2 fingers. It looked like he was moving very slowly, but in fact, he was astonishingly fast. Before Wang Zhangke's sword light could pierce him, he had already blocked in front of him. Then, he casually clamped the tip of Wang Zhangke's divine sword. Wang Zhangke's movements immediately stopped. His body was suspended in midair, and the long sword in his hand could no longer move forward. He blocked it. Sect leader Wang and the elders of the plentiful city sword sect were dumbfounded and stunned. They had thought that Lu Ming might be able to block Wang Zhangke's attack, but never in their dreams would they have thought that Lu Ming would use this method to block Wang Zhangke's attack. Wang Zhangke's sword just now had clearly used all his strength. He wanted to show Lu Ming, to beat Lu Ming to the ground and expose Lu Ming and Han Xiling's fake identities. So the power of that sword was very shocking. But such a sword was easily caught by Lu Ming with 2 fingers. And Lu Ming looked as if it was effortless. No, impossible. Wang Zhangke roared, unable to accept this fact. Die for me, die for me. Wang Zhangke's eyes were blood red, and he was about to go crazy. If he really lost to Lu Ming like this, how embarrassing would it be? The divine power in his body burned fiercely. He was simply going all out. His divine power crazily poured into the long sword, erupting with his strongest attack, wanting to break through Lu Ming's defense and assassinate Lu Ming. But it didn't budge. Lu Ming's 2 fingers were like 2 immovable sacred mountains. No matter how Wang Zhangke unleashed his power or how he activated the long sword, it was the same. Trash, Lu Ming said indifferently. Then his power erupted, and his 2 fingers shook. Buzz. The long sword in Wang Zhangke's hand crazily shook, and then with a few cracking sounds, it shattered. Surging energy had already entered Wang Zhangke's body through the long sword. Wang Zhangke screamed miserably, and his body flew back like an arrow. He heavily fell to the ground, vomiting mouthfuls of blood. His body twitched incessantly, as if he was having cramps. A crushing defeat. There was no suspense in this battle. In Lu Ming's hands, Wang Zhanke was like a baby, weak and powerless, unable to withstand a single blow. Amazing! The eyes of sect leader Wang and the elders of the plentiful city sword sect brightened. The strength that Lu Ming displayed, although it was a bit exaggerated to say that he could kill a quasi-emperor, was also no small matter. Wang Zhanke's full power was enough to fight a 7th-level divine lord, and Lu Ming could easily crush Wang Zhanke. His strength was at least equivalent to an 8th-level divine lord, or even higher. Such combat strength would definitely be of great use in the Resource Alliance. It took a long time for everyone to recover. Among everyone, only Han Xialing's expression was normal. This result had long been within her expectations. Wang Zhanke actually dared to challenge Lu Ming. Wasn't he looking for a beating? Sure enough, heroes come from the youth. Let me meet you. A middle-aged man stepped out. Chapter 3750. A middle-aged man stepped out and faced Lu Ming directly. A powerful aura spread out and pressed down on Lu Ming. Quasi-Emperor. This was a quasi-Emperor realm expert. He wanted to challenge Lu Ming. Lu Chong, you're an elder. How can you fight with a junior? Sect leader Wang frowned and scolded lightly. The strength that Lu Ming displayed just now had already made him want to recruit him, so he stopped him. However, he didn't stop him too much. In fact, he also wanted to see if Lu Ming really had the battle strength of a quasi-emperor. Sect leader, little brother Mu Yun, can defeat a quasi-emperor. This disciple is really curious and wants to exchange pointers with little brother Mu Yun. I have no other intention. Please grant my wish. Lu Chong bowed and said, Little brother Mu Yun this. Sect leader Wang looked at Lu Ming with a troubled expression. It's fine. Make your move. Lu Ming replied. This person challenging him was exactly what he wanted. In this way, the Fengdu sword sect would pay more attention to him. Lu Ming's straightforwardness stunned sect leader Wang, Lu Chong, and the others. Lu Ming was so confident. Could it be that he really had the battle strength that Han Xialing said? But how is that possible? It was already a miracle that Lu Ming could defeat Wang Zhanke so easily. Could it be that a 5th-layer divine lord could really defeat a quasi-emperor? Impossible. Lu Chong shook his head hard in his heart. He had walked all the way from the 5th-layer divine lord to the quasi-emperor. He knew the gap between two realms. It was simply a fool's dream to cross this gap. Then don't go too far. Don't hurt the harmony. Sect leader Wang said. Don't worry, sect leader. Lu Chong replied. His eyes flashed, and he took a step on the ground. His body was like a mountain, rushing toward Lu Ming. With a punch, the space shattered like a rag. The violent power swept toward Lu Ming like a storm. He had promised sect leader Wang not to overdo it, but once he attacked, he went all out. He secretly had a very good relationship with Wang Zhanke. It could be said that he was one of Wang Zhanke's people. Just now, Wang Zhanke had been so miserably abused by Lu Ming. He definitely wanted to avenge Wang Zhanke. Therefore, he took the initiative to challenge Lu Ming, a junior, as a quasi-emperor. The violent power shook the heavens and the earth, causing the world to tremble. Cripple him! Cripple him! Cripple this bastard! At this moment, Wang Zhanke had barely recovered. He glared at Lu Ming with hatred in his eyes, hoping that Lu Ming would be suppressed or even crippled by Lu Chong. A ray of divine light involuntarily appeared on sect leader Wang's palm. He was ready to make a move. If the situation went south, he would save Lu Ming. Lu Ming was very strong. At the very least, among the younger generation of the Feng City Sword Sect, there was only one person who could compare to Lu Ming. He couldn't let Lu Ming be crippled by Lu Chong. Just at this moment, Lu Ming attacked. He threw a punch at Lu Chong's fist. Boom! The sky shook and space exploded. The terrifying fist pressure was even more terrifying than Lu Chong's. This, sect leader Wang and the others couldn't help but widen their eyes. When an expert attacked, it was easy to tell whether or not he was an expert. The two of them hadn't even officially exchanged blows, but sect leader Wang and the other elders of the Feng City Sword Sect could see that Lu Ming's fist was too terrifying. Not good. Lu Chong's expression wildly changed, and his heart began to pound. He felt a terrifying fist pressure coming at him. It was terrifying to the extreme. It wasn't something he could resist, but it was too late to change his attack now. In this situation, if he changed his attack, he would face Lu Ming's barrage of attacks. He would definitely lose. In this situation, he could only brace himself. Lu Chang roared angrily and used every bit of strength in his body to blast out along with the power of the fist. Boom! Their fists finally collided. It was as if two planets had collided, and then an explosion occurred. A terrifying chi swept in all directions, as if it was going to swallow the entire mountain. But sect leader Wang waved his hand, and a strength swept across the mountain like a spring breeze. Wherever it passed, the chi generated by the collision between Lu Ming and Lu Chang was silently blocked. How strong! Lu Ming narrowed his eyes. Sect leader Wang wasn't an ordinary godly emperor. His cultivation level was definitely above the first godly emperor layer. He was extremely strong. Even if Lu Ming used his full strength and Qiu used his full strength, they wouldn't be able to compete with him. Ah! Lu Chang gave a horrible shriek, and then his bones were broken. He was sent flying backwards, just like Wang Zhangke. He fell to the ground and coughed up blood. One of his arms had been completely broken and was hanging down weakly. Lu Chang, a quasi-emperor, had been killed in one attack. The entire place was silent. Everyone was looking at Lu Ming in a daze. Lu Ming had actually defeated a quasi-emperor. Moreover, it was an instant kill. He was only a fifth godly monarch layer. A fifth godly monarch layer had such fighting strength. This was too incredible. It turned out that what Han Xiling had said before was true. Now, no one doubted what Han Xiling had said because the truth was right in front of them. No, this can't be true. I must be dreaming. Yes, I must be dreaming. Wang Zhangke shook his head blankly. He couldn't accept this fact. He would rather believe that he was dreaming. But a gust of wind blew, and a sharp pain came from his wound. This told him that this was real. This wasn't a dream. Why? Why is this happening? Wang Zhangke roared in his heart. He couldn't accept it, especially what he had just said. A fifth godly monarch layer can kill a quasi-emperor? And it's so easy. Do you think we're fools? Do you think the sect master and the elders are fools? The words he had just said were still ringing in his ears, but at this moment, they were like slaps to his face. Just now, he had mocked Lu Ming and doubted Lu Ming. He had said that Han Xiling and Lu Ming had an affair and deliberately praised Lu Ming. It turned out that everything was just his own wishful thinking. And everything Han Xiling had said was the truth. Lu Ming was indeed a monstrous genius. He had killed a quasi-emperor as a fifth-level godly monarch. The truth just now was right in front of them. Lu Ming had defeated Lu Chang with one punch. If he continued to attack, Lu Chang would definitely die. In fact, they didn't know that Lu Ming had already shown mercy just now. Otherwise, Lu Chang would have died with one punch. Amazing, amazing. At this moment, Sect Master Wang muttered to himself. He was so excited that he was about to tremble. With Lu Ming's combat strength, if he helped them fight in the Resource Alliance, the help would definitely be amazing. He could help the Fengdu Sword Sect to obtain better resources. In every Resource Alliance in the past, the Fengdu Sword Sect had always been ranked in the bottom 5 among the 18 forces in the Iron Sea Star Zone group. They had never rushed into the top 10. If they had Lu Ming's help, they might be able to rush into the top 10 and create history for the Fengdu Sword Sect. They had to keep Lu Ming at all costs. Sect Master Wang's eyes lit up. He had made up his mind. Chapter 3751. The Resource Alliance between the 18 forces in the Iron Sea Star region was based on strength. The stronger one was, the higher one's ranking in the Resource Alliance would be, and the better resources one could obtain. And the better resources one had, the stronger one's sect would be. This would form a positive cycle, and in the next Resource Alliance, one would achieve better results and obtain better resources. And the weaker forces would fall into a vicious cycle, becoming weaker and weaker. Therefore, Lu Ming was too important to the Plentiful City Sword Sect. Ha ha ha, this old man has cultivated for dozens of years and has seen countless geniuses in my life. But today, I finally see what a real genius is, what a real hero is. Little brother Mu Yun's talent is really something this old man has never seen before. Sect leader Wang laughed, full of praise, and eased the atmosphere at the same time. Sect leader Wang is too polite. Lu Ming clasped his fists. Come, come, come. Little brother Mu Yun has done a great favor for the plentiful city sword sect. This seat will set up a banquet to welcome little brother Mu Yun. Sect leader Wang said. He kept calling him little brother in a very affectionate manner. No need. This junior still has important matters to attend to, so I will take my leave now. Lu Ming said. Brother Mu, you're leaving now? Han Xiling said anxiously. That's right. Lu Ming nodded. Brother Mu, you don't have to care about some people. Han Xiling glared at Wang Zhanka anxiously. When Lu Ming came with her, he did not say that he was leaving. But now, he said that he had important matters to attend to, which was clearly an excuse. In fact, he was unhappy. In fact, she did not know that Lu Ming did not want to leave. He was retreating in order to advance, so that he could make a request for himself. Little brother Mu Yun, why are you leaving so soon? If there's anything important, tell me. I will do my best to help. Sect leader Wang said hurriedly, also a little anxious. What a joke. Such a genius had finally arrived. If he let Lu Ming leave just like that, wouldn't he vomit blood? This junior indeed has something to attend to. I can't stay for long. Lu Ming still shook his head, clasped his fists, and was about to leave. Wait a moment, little brother Mu Yun. Wait a moment. Sect leader Wang blurted out. He then clenched his teeth and said, Brother Mu Yun, I actually have a favor to ask of you. I hope you'll agree to it. Seeing that Lu Ming was about to leave, sect leader Wang didn't hide it any longer and hurriedly spoke of his purpose. You want my help? Sect master Wang must be joking. This junior only has the cultivation of a 5th-level divine lord. The number of divine sovereigns in plentiful city sword sect is not small. Why does this junior need to help? Lu Ming was delighted, but he didn't show it on his face. He asked the obvious and pretended to be ignorant. Little brother Mu Yun, do you know about the Resource Alliance Agreement of the Iron Sea Star Zone Group? Chief Wang said. I've heard of it. Lu Ming said. It's like this. Little brother Mu Yun's talent is unparalleled. The Plentiful City Sword Sect would like to invite little brother Mu Yun to become the external aid of the Plentiful City Sword Sect and help the Plentiful City Sword Sect participate in the Resource Alliance. Of course, no matter what the ranking is, the Plentiful City Sword Sect will give a generous reward. We will not disappoint little brother. Chief Wang said. So it's the Resource Alliance Agreement. Lu Ming nodded and frowned, looking like he was thinking. Chief Wang and the rest were nervously waiting for Lu Ming's answer, hoping that Lu Ming would agree. Participating in the Resource Alliance Agreement wasn't something that could be done by force. Lu Ming had to agree to it himself. Otherwise, it would be useless to force him. Moreover, they didn't dare to force Lu Ming. Lu Ming's talent, Lu Ming's battle strength, were simply abnormally strong. How could such a monster be nurtured by an ordinary force? They suspected that Lu Ming came from a terrifying force and was out on a trip to temper himself. If they dared to force Lu Ming, the Plentiful City Sword Sect wouldn't need to exist anymore. Lu Ming pretended to think for a while and said, originally, for Miss Ziling's sake, I wanted to help the Plentiful City Sword Sect with this favor. These words made Chief Wang and the rest's eyes light up. They glanced at Han Xiling and revealed a look of understanding. They thought that Lu Ming had taken a fancy to Han Xiling. Han Xiling's face was also slightly red, which made her even more beautiful. However, there seems to be someone in the Plentiful City Sword Sect who doesn't welcome me. If I stay here, wouldn't I be looking for trouble? Lu Ming said, as if he was referring to something. Everyone could tell that Lu Ming was talking about Wang Zhanka and Lu Chong. Wang Zhanka's face turned into the color of pig liver. Sect leader Wang and the others naturally understood. Little brother, some people in the Plentiful City Sword Sect have eyes but fail to see. I'll let them apologize to you. As he said that, Chief Wang's gaze looked at Wang Zhanka and Lu Chong and scolded, You two, why aren't you apologizing to little brother Mu Yun? Chief, Wang Zhanka's expression was extremely ugly as he looked at Chief Wang in a daze. Previously, he was constantly mocking Lu Ming, despising Lu Ming, and then provoking Lu Ming. He was suppressed by Lu Ming in one move, and he had already lost all his face. Now, he actually had to apologize to Lu Ming. This was simply more uncomfortable than killing him. He was about to vomit blood and was extremely sullen. Why aren't you apologizing to little brother Mu Yun? Do you want me to invite you? Chief Wang's tone became heavier, and a trace of cold light flashed in his eyes. Wang Zhangke and Lu Chang's hearts trembled. Obviously, Chief Wang was already angry, and they did not dare to disobey Chief Wang. In the end, they could only grit their teeth and cup their fists to Lu Ming, saying, "We were blind just now. Please forgive us." Is this the attitude of apologizing? Lu Ming said indifferently, obviously dissatisfied. Wang Zhangke's teeth were about to shatter. However, seeing Chief Wang's sharp gaze, he did not dare to refute. Plop. Lu Chang was very straightforward. He directly knelt down and kowtowed to Lu Ming, asking for Lu Ming's forgiveness. This attitude is not bad. What about you? Lu Ming looked at Wang Zhangke. Oh. Wang Zhangke roared crazily in his heart. He was so sullen that he was about to explode. He could not wait to explode and go all out to scold Lu Ming and Chief Wang. However, in the end, he still did not dare to. Plop. In the end, he knelt down in humiliation and apologized to Lu Ming. That's more like it. Lu Ming nodded lightly, then looked at Chief Wang and said, "Chief Wang, it's not impossible for me to help Fengdu Sword Sect, but I have a condition." "What condition, little brother? Just say it." Chief Wang said, "There are too many people. Let's talk somewhere else." Lu Ming said. Chief Wang nodded and let Wang Zhangke and the others leave. After a while, only sect leader Wang, two of sect leader Wang's trusted elders, Han Xiling and Lu Ming, were left in the main hall. "Little brother, what condition do you have? You can say it now. I promise not to spread it." Chief Wang said, "I need a new identity, a complete identity." Lu Ming said his condition. Chapter 3752. A new identity? Sect leader Wang and the others were stunned. What kind of condition was this? "I want to become a heavenly soldier of the heavenly palace. But if I become a heavenly soldier, the heavenly soldiers will investigate this person's background. But since I was born, I have been training in a secret place. This time, I have just been born. You can say that my past is blank. I'm afraid that I can't pass the heavenly palace's investigation, so I need a new identity." Lu Ming explained. "I see." Sect leader Wang and the others nodded. They could understand what Lu Ming said. The heavenly palace's investigation of the heavenly soldiers was very strict. Lu Ming had never been born before. This was his first time. His past was a blank piece of paper. It would be troublesome to become a heavenly soldier. That was why Lu Ming wanted a new identity. Moreover, with Lu Ming's talent, they did not doubt that Lu Ming could succeed. If Lu Ming could not succeed with his talent, how many people in the Eldritch universe could succeed? However, it would be troublesome to give Lu Ming a new identity. There were many disciples in the Fengdu Sword Sect. Many of them died outside every year. They could casually find a disciple who had died and let Lu Ming become that disciple. However, everyone's life origin aura was different. If they let Lu Ming pretend to be a person, that person's friends and family would know that Lu Ming was a fake. The Heavenly Palace could easily find out. They frowned and pondered. Moreover, this was a very risky matter. If the Heavenly Palace found out about this, the Fengdu Sword Sect would be in big trouble. Deceiving the Heavenly Palace was a serious crime. However, the Resource Alliance this time was too important. Lu Ming's strength was too tempting. It would be a pity to give up on Lu Ming. Lu Ming also understood this. That was why he showed his strength to make the Fengdu Sword Sect reluctant. "I have an idea." At this moment, an elder on the side spoke. This elder's name was Chen Tong. "What idea?" Sect leader Wang and Lu Ming's eyes lit up. "I know that there is an outer disciple in the sect. Coincidentally, this outer disciple's name is Mu Yun. This Mu Yun is not very talented. He is a coward and low-key. Not many people know him. Some time ago, this Mu Yun went out to train and hasn't returned since. It's likely that he died outside. I'm sure no one will know that little brother Mu Yun has taken over this identity. Chun Tong said. They discussed for a while and came to an agreement. Let Lu Ming become the Fengdu sword sect's outer disciple, Mu Yun. Chen Tonghui showed Lu Ming the information of Mu Yun's past to reduce the number of flaws on Lu Ming. Lu Ming agreed to help the Fengdu sword sect participate in the Resource Alliance. He would do his best. Little brother Mu Yun, I'll bring you to the place where Mu Yun lives, Chun Tong said. Lu Ming nodded. Since he was going to pretend, he had to make it look real. Lu Ming followed Chun Tong and left the place. They flew to other places on Fengdu Star. Fengdu Star was huge. The entire Fengdu Star was the headquarters of the Fengdu sword sect. However, there was a difference between prosperous and not. Soon, they arrived at the other side of Fengdu Star. In front of them was a small sword-shaped mountain. It was incomparable to the sword-shaped mountain from before. On the sword-shaped mountain, there was a small courtyard. The two of them landed in the courtyard. This is where Mu Yun lives and cultivates. That Mu Yun is cowardly. His talent is not high, and he doesn't get along with others. He cultivates here all year round. Very few people in the Fengdu sword sect know about him. Chun Tong introduced. Not bad. Lu Ming nodded with satisfaction. The more low-key Mu Yun was, the more advantageous it was for him now. Little brother, you can stay here. I'll sort out the information on Mu Yun for you. Also, in half a year's time, it will be the Resource Alliance. Chun Tong said. Lu Ming nodded. Then, Chun Tong left. Sigh, I wonder when the Heavenly Palace will start recruiting heavenly soldiers. Lu Ming sighed. Previously, he had asked Sect Leader Wang and the others this question. Sect Leader Wang and the others could not answer. Because the Heavenly Palace did not have a fixed time to recruit heavenly soldiers. Other than the Heavenly Palace, no one knew when the Heavenly Palace would recruit heavenly soldiers next. Lu Ming was helpless. Right now, he could only create a new identity and cultivate while he waited. Lu Ming stayed here. With a wave of his hand, jade talismans appeared one after another. These jade talismans were obtained by Lu Ming from the ruins of the Tianyu Kingdom. He had obtained a lot of treasures from the last treasure trove. Each jade talisman recorded a secret technique. There were hundreds of secret techniques here. Lu Ming looked through them one by one. Chilling Wind Extinction. I haven't cultivated it before. Heart Destruction Palm. I've cultivated it before. Pleasure Technique. I haven't cultivated it before. Lu Ming looked through them one by one and selected the secret techniques that he had cultivated before. A day later, hundreds of secret techniques were selected. There were a total of 210 secret techniques that Lu Ming had not cultivated before. There were all kinds of secret techniques. Some of them were of little value and did not have much use. However, Lu Ming did not reject any of them and planned to cultivate them all. No matter what kind of secret technique it was, the more the better. Lu Ming began to cultivate the secret techniques. One by one, the secret techniques turned into secret technique runes and were integrated into Lu Ming's cells. Half a month later, Chun Tong brought back the previous information of Yun Mu. Lu Ming memorized it all and felt more confident. Then, he continued to cultivate the secret techniques. Another half a month later, Han Xiling found Lu Ming. Brother Mu, our Fengdu sword sect is preparing to send people to plunder the resources of other forces. Are you interested? Han Xiling asked. Plunder the resources of other forces? What resources? Lu Ming's heart stirred as he asked. All kinds of resources, metal mines, divine herb fields, jade mines, etc. Anything is fine. Han Xiling said. As the Resource Alliance approached, the major forces began to plunder resources more frequently and more fiercely. The Fengdu sword sect naturally would not passively take a beating. They would also send experts to plunder the resources of other forces. Han Xiling immediately thought of Lu Ming. Under the Divine Emperor realm, Lu Ming's battle strength was absolutely unparalleled. With Lu Ming joining, the plundering would be very smooth. Chapter 3753. Alright, but I need a metal resource mine, Lu Ming said. Qiuqiu's cultivation and evolution were inseparable from metal-type materials. Most of the divine weapons were also made of metal-type materials. Although Lu Ming had obtained a large number of divine weapons in the Skypass Divine Nation, who would complain about having more resources? With Qiuqiu's appetite, those divine weapons might not be able to last long. Therefore, the more metal-type materials, the better. Immediately, Lu Ming followed Han Xiling and headed towards the headquarters of the Fengdu Sword Sect. Brother Mu, you can wear this robe? On the way, Han Xiling gave Lu Ming a robe. Lu Ming put it on and completely wrapped himself in the robe. Then, Lu Ming restrained his aura. The forbidden energy was hidden in every cell in his body. The others could not figure out his specific cultivation. The forbidden energy was dispersed in every cell. As long as Lu Ming did not want others to find out his cultivation, no one would be able to, unless their cultivation was much higher. Soon, the two of them arrived at a large hall. The hall was very spacious. At this time, there were already hundreds of people there. Everyone was wrapped in black robes. Lu Ming and Han Xiling blended into the crowd and waited. After about half an hour, people came one after another. At this time, there were more than 500 people in the hall. All right, almost everyone is here. This time, our goal is the Purple Moon Divine Iron Planet of the Black Blood Hall. We will rob them of their Purple Moon Divine Iron. Suddenly, a voice came from the crowd. One of the black-robed men took off his hood. It was an old man. This old man was a quasi-emperor-level expert of the Fengdu Sword Sect. He was also a protector of the sect. The protectors of the Fengdu Sword Sect were all quasi-emperor-level experts. As for the elders, they were all divine emperors. Yes, protector. The crowd responded. Let's go. The protector gave the order. The crowd flew out of the hall and came to the entrance of a wormhole. Reaching the level of Feng City Sword Sect, the use of wormholes was already quite mature. Wormholes were connected to different places, like railways, connecting different places together. Through the wormhole, they quickly left the Fengdu Sword Sect's territory and entered the Black Blood Hall's territory. The Black Blood Hall was quite powerful in the Iron Sea Star Zone group. Although they were not in the top 10, they were very close. They were ranked 11th in the Last Resource Alliance, which was much stronger than the Fengdu Sword Sect. However, the Black Blood Hall and the Plentiful City Sword Sect had been enemies for a long time, and the two forces often had conflicts. As the Resource Alliance approached, the friction between the two forces became even more intense. Plundering each other's resource planets was the most intense. Last time, the Black Blood Hall had sent a large number of experts to rob planet Bloodjade. If Lu Ming had not appeared, Han Xiling and the others would have been in danger. This time, the Fengdu Sword Sect was going to plunder the Purple Moon Divine Metal Planet of the Black Blood Hall. Of course, the Fengdu Sword Sect was not the only group that plundered the resource planets of the Black Blood Hall. In fact, there were 6 of them that plundered 6 different resource planets of the Black Blood Hall. They traveled stealthily through the remote starry skies. After some time, they finally arrived at the Purple Moon Star. The Purple Moon Star was a resource planet that had many Purple Moon Divine Metal mines. The Purple Moon Divine Metal was an important material for forging divine artifacts. A good amount of Purple Moon Divine Metal could even be used to forge an Emperor-grade divine artifact. It was an important source of income for the Black Blood Hall. In front of them, a purple planet was suspended in the air like a purple pearl. It was unusually beautiful. Wait a moment. We will find the place with the densest number of mines and break in. We will plunder the Purple Moon Divine Metal to our heart's content. The protector said. Many people's eyes were burning with passion. As long as they could plunder it, it would belong to them. Everyone secretly rubbed their palms, preparing for a big fight. On the Purple Moon Star, the spots with rich colors are the places with rich Purple Moon Divine Metal. Look over there. The purple color is especially rich. We will start from there. The protector pointed at a spot on the Purple Moon Star and said. Lu Ming looked over. Indeed, although the Purple Moon Star was purple, there were different shades of color. Some places were darker. The place that the protector pointed at was a spot with a rich color. Let's go. Following the protector's order, they turned into streaks of black light and rushed toward the Purple Moon Divine Metal Planet at an astonishing speed. In just a dozen seconds, they had crossed hundreds of millions of miles and arrived on the surface of the purple moon star. Enemy attack. Someone is plundering the purple moon divine metal. A loud roar reverberated in all directions. The surface of the purple moon divine metal planet was naturally patrolled by the experts of the Black Blood Hall. At this moment, a team of more than a dozen people had discovered the people of the Fengdu sword sect. They shouted and spread the news. No one cared. It was normal for them to be discovered. They were plundering, not stealing. Kill. The protector roared and took the lead to attack. Retreat. Retreat. The people of the Black Blood Hall did not dare to stop Lu Ming and the others. They frantically flew toward the purple moon star. However, it was too late. The quasi-emperors were too fast. In a few flashes, they had caught up with the people of the Black Blood Hall. Clang! The sound of swords rang out. More than a dozen sword lights burst out from the protector's hands, illuminating the starry sky. The people of the Black Blood Hall were directly killed by the sword lights. Charge! The protector roared. He led the people of the Fengdu sword sect and charged toward the biggest spot of light. When they got closer, they realized that the huge spot of light was a purple mountain range. The purple mountain range was connected. It was very vast, and one could not see the end of it. Below the purple mountain range was the purple moon divine metal. Someone is plundering. Defend. Figures flashed in the purple mountain range. The black blood experts guarding this place had gathered together. There were a few hundred of them, but they were fewer than the people of the Fengdu sword sect. There were only about 300 of them. Charge! The protector roared and took the lead to attack. The others followed suit. Swoosh! 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 Before they arrived, dazzling sword lights burst out. In an instant, more than 500 sword lights slashed toward the people of the Black Blood Hall. It is indeed the trash of the Fengdu sword sect. Block them! Someone in the Black Blood Hall shouted. Then, a bloody mist filled the air. Hundreds of Black Blood Hall experts attacked together. A sea of blood seemed to have appeared in the sky. Boom! 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 Hundreds of sword lights slashed on the sea of blood. The sea of blood shook violently, but it eventually blocked the bombardment of the sword lights. Something is wrong. At this moment, the protector's face changed. The faces of Han Xiling and the other experts also changed. Something was wrong. The people who came out to plunder this time were all elites. They were all experts at the 6th level of the Divine Lord realm and above. They came prepared and launched a surprise attack. The Black Blood Hall guarding this place should not be able to block their attack. After all, the Black Blood Hall had many resource planets. Chapter 3754. After all, the Black Blood Hall had to guard many resource planets. Every resource planet had to be guarded by experts. Hence, the number of experts on each resource planet was limited. Even if the purple moon godly metal on the purple moon planet was very precious and the people sent to guard it were stronger than those from other resource planets, the Fengdu sword sect had come prepared this time. Their strength was definitely stronger than the people from the Black Blood Hall guarding the purple moon planet. However, the people from the Black Blood Hall had easily blocked their attack. That was strange. 7th level Divine Monarchs. They are all experts above the 7th level Divine Monarchs. Not good. They are prepared. Retreat. A few experts from the Fengdu sword sect shouted and ordered everyone to retreat. However, it was too late. Swoosh. 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 Figures flickered in the purple mountain range below, and people in red robes appeared one after another. At the same time, the void behind Lu Ming and the rest rippled like water. Then, people in red robes appeared and blocked their path of retreat. There were thousands of people densely packed in front, behind, to the left and right. They were surrounded. Not good. At this moment, the hearts of the people from the Fengdu sword sect sank. Obviously, the Black Blood Hall was prepared. They had deployed a large number of troops and were waiting for them to take the bait. I knew that the Fengdu sword sect would come to the purple moon star. Since you are here, don't leave. A cold voice was heard and a red-haired old man stepped out. He was emitting a powerful aura. He was a boundary emperor. Boom, 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 Powerful auras were constantly erupting in the surroundings. Many powerful auras pressed toward Lu Ming and the rest. Boundary Emperors. Among them, the number of Boundary Emperors was shocking. There were definitely more than 50 of them. It's over. The people from the Fengdu sword sect trembled slightly. This time, they were in danger. They only had a dozen Boundary Emperors. They were far inferior compared to the other party. Kill our way out. The protector roared and took the lead to attack. He rushed to the sky, and a dazzling sword light slashed out as if it was going to split the sky apart. However, a blood-red palm print appeared and blasted towards the sword light, blocking it. You still want to leave today? Ridiculous. A Boundary Emperor from the Black Blood Hall shouted and charged towards the protector. The two of them fought. The other people in Feng City Palace Hall tried their best to attack, but they were also blocked. For a moment, they could not rush out. Let's attack together and annihilate the people from Fengdu Sword Faction. On the Purple Mountain Range, the red-haired old man coldly shouted and gave the order, "Kill." On the Purple Mountain Range, a large number of experts from the Black Blood Hall rushed towards the Fengdu sword sect. The densely packed silhouettes and terrifying auras made the people of Fengdu sword sect feel despair. As long as these people rushed over, the formation of the Feng City Sword School would definitely collapse. At that time, only death would await them. No one would be able to escape. Fight them to the death. Even if I have to risk my life, I will drag them down with me. Many people from the Fengdu sword sect roared and planned to fight to the death. Brother Mumu. Han Xiling's beautiful eyes looked at Lu Ming expectantly. She was fully aware of Lu Ming's combat strength. In such a situation, she could only rely on Lu Ming. At this moment, Lu Ming was also speechless. Originally, he only wanted to follow along and take advantage of the situation to plunder some metal ores as food for Qiu Qiu. He did not expect that this robbery would not go smoothly and that he would encounter an ambush. Now, he could only take action. Leave it to me, Lu Ming said. He then stepped out and headed toward the Black Blood Hall experts who were dashing over from the Purple Mountain Range. Fight them to the death. Other experts from the Fengdu sword sect followed closely behind Lu Ming and rushed over. Courting death. Kill them all. The people from the Black Blood Hall roared and various attacks rained down on the Fengdu sword sect. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Lu Ming moved. His fingers were like a sword as he madly slashed at the void. The sword-type secret techniques that he had fused with his hands all burst out. Suddenly, hundreds of sword lights burst out from his hands and slashed at the experts from the Black Blood Hall. The Sea of Blood, the blood-colored python, the blood-colored goshawk, the blood-colored saber gleam, and so on all collapsed after being slashed by Lu Ming's sword gleam. Moreover, the sword gleam did not stop and continued to slash at the people from the Black Blood Hall. Puff. Puff. The people from the Black Blood Hall could not resist at all. Most of them fell when the sword lights slashed. More than 50 people were killed in an instant. Only a few quasi-emperors retreated with serious injuries and were not killed. The people from the Fengdu sword sect who followed closely behind Lu Ming were stunned. They were prepared to fight to the death when they suddenly realized that their opponents were killed by a sword light. A large number of the experts from the Black Blood Hall who were rushing towards them suddenly decreased. Lu Ming's movements did not stop at all. His figure rapidly moved forward. With a wave of his hand, a large number of sword lights burst out. This time, the injured quasi-emperors were also killed. Lu Ming's figure did not stop. He was like a tiger in a flock of sheep. Everywhere he passed, a large number of experts from the Black Blood Hall were killed. From the quasi-emperors to the 7th and 8th layers of the divine monarchs, they were all unable to withstand a single blow. In a few breaths' time, more than 200 people died in the hands of Lu Ming. Run! The people from the Black Blood Hall were scared out of their wits. They scattered and fled frantically. How would they dare to fight? In the sky, the people from the Fengdu sword sect and the Black Blood Hall were dumbfounded. The battle came to a stop as well. Fengdu sword sect, you have violated the rules. You have sent out a divine emperor. The people from the Black Blood Hall shouted hysterically. In their opinion, Only a divine emperor could kill a quasi-emperor so easily. The people from the Fengdu sword sect were also confused. Could it be that there was a divine emperor among them? Nonsense. He is clearly a divine monarch. Han Xiling shouted. Boom. Lu Ming cooperated with Han Xiling and released his aura. What? The aura of a fifth-layer divine monarch? Impossible. He is really a fifth-layer divine monarch. The people from the Fengdu sword sect and the Black Blood Hall were stunned. Swish. Lu Ming's figure changed and killed a few more quasi-emperors. Even if these quasi-emperors joined forces, they were not Lu Ming's opponent. They could only be killed. Retreat. Retreat. Finally, the people from the Black Blood Hall were scared and retreated. Lu Ming was too strong. If this continued, the experts from the Black Blood Hall would most likely die here. They roared in their hearts. They did not expect that there would be such a strong expert in the Fengdu sword sect. His cultivation was obviously low, but his battle strength was ridiculously strong. However, as long as he was not a divine emperor, he did not violate the rules. All the people from the Black Blood Hall gathered together and flew out of the Purple Moon Star. Not long after, the people from the Black Blood Hall on the Purple Moon Star fled. The remaining people from the Fengdu sword sect looked at each other in dismay. They had not recovered from the shock. They thought that they would definitely die today. They did not expect that there would be such a strong expert among them. With his own strength, he reversed the situation. Chapter 3755. Everyone in the Fengdu sword sect looked at Lu Ming. Their eyes were filled with guesses and suspicions. Was this an expert from their Fengdu sword sect? An old monster who had cultivated for a long time? Or a prodigy of the younger generation? He was only a fifth-level divine lord, but his combat power was ridiculously strong. However, among the younger generation, was there such a person in the Fengdu sword sect? Perhaps an old monster who had cultivated for a long time. Some old monsters had astonishing strength. It was not as if there were no such people in the primitive universe. Some people were extremely talented when they were young. However, due to certain reasons, they were stuck in a certain realm and could not break through. Such people were originally very talented. However, due to special reasons, they could not break through. After cultivating for so many years, various secret techniques, divine power, and origin secret techniques would be cultivated to a shocking level. Their combat power would be terrifyingly high. They could often fight across several realms. Although such people were rare, they were not non-existent. Perhaps the person in front of them was a prodigy in the history of the Fengdu sword sect who was stuck in the fifth-level divine lord realm and could not break through? More people thought so. Lu Ming ignored these people. After the people from the Black Blood Hall left, Lu Ming rushed into the Purple Mountain Range. There were many mines in the Purple Mountain Range. Lu Ming rushed into one of the mines. Begin the operation. Seeing Lu Ming rush into the mine, the rest of the Fengdu sword sect also rushed into the various mines. They had to seize the time to plunder more Purple Moon divine iron. After Lu Ming rushed into the mine, he quickly reached the depths of the mine. He looked at the walls. They were all Purple Moon divine iron. Qiuqiu, eat to your heart's content. Lu Ming waved his hand, and Qiuqiu flew out. So many delicacies. Mine, all mine. Qiuqiu's body swelled up. He opened his mouth and started biting crazily. Crunch, crunch. A large amount of Purple Moon divine iron was swallowed by Qiuqiu. Soon, a large hole appeared in the wall. There are even more delicacies below. Qiuqiu shouted and began to change direction. He drilled downwards. Soon, he opened up a tunnel that led downwards. Lu Ming followed Qiuqiu down the passageway. As Qiuqiu's cultivation base increased, its devouring speed also increased at an astonishing rate. In just a few minutes, it had eaten a 10,000-meter deep tunnel. Lu Ming discovered that the lower he went, the harder the ores became, because the content of the Purple Moon divine iron was higher and higher. Towards the end, any piece of Purple Moon heavenly iron or that was dug out had a very high concentration, exceeding 50%. Lu Ming took out a saber and continuously hacked at it. He cut the purple moon divine iron ore into pieces and stored them in his storage ring for Chochio to eat in the future. Meanwhile, Chochio continued to open its mouth and gorge itself. Just like that, 3 days passed. Chochio had eaten an unknown amount of purple moon divine iron ores, so much so that its entire body was emitting purple gas. As for Lu Ming, he also excavated a large amount of divine iron ores and put them all into his storage ring. Treasure! There's a treasure! Chochio suddenly cried out with excitement in its eyes. It extended a few sabers from its body and began digging. A moment later, a purple metal the size of a water tank appeared in front of Lu Ming. This is purple moon mother steel. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. There was no mistake. This was purple moon mother steel. Purple moon mother steel could only be found in extremely large purple moon divine iron ores. The value of purple moon mother steel was at least tens of thousands of times higher than ordinary purple moon divine iron, perhaps even more. This was because purple moon mother steel could be used to refine divine artifacts of a higher grade than emperor-grade divine artifacts. I want to eat. Chochio opened its mouth and was about to swallow the entire purple moon mother steel. Wait, leave a piece for me. Lu Ming hastily took action, using a divine artifact saber to hack at it. Finally, he managed to cut off a small piece and put it away. The rest was swallowed by Chochio. Chochio looked like it was enjoying itself. Chochio, can you break through to the divine emperor realm with just this? Lu Ming asked. Absolutely. Chochio repeatedly nodded. Let's see if there are any more purple moon mother steel in the surroundings. Lu Ming said. Chochio nodded, then opened its mouth and continued to gnaw. However, it did not find anything after circling the surroundings. At this time, Lu Ming received news from Han Xiling that they had to retreat. They had been plundering for more than 3 days. If this continued, the Black Blood Palace might go crazy and send out divine emperors. Chochio, let's go, Lu Ming said. Lu Ming decided to leave. He was satisfied with the harvest this time. At least Chochio had enough energy to break through to the divine emperor realm. He had also stored a large amount of purple moon iron ores. Chochio turned back into a bracelet and wore it on Lu Ming's wrist. Lu Ming left the place. When he arrived outside the mine, he saw that the people of Feng City Sword Sect had already gathered. They were still curiously sizing up Lu Ming, guessing Lu Ming's identity. After waiting for everyone to arrive, they left the place. They did not encounter any danger along the way and returned to Feng City Sword Sect. After returning to Feng City Sword Sect, Lu Ming left secretly and returned to his residence. Later, Feng City Sword Sect would send people to plunder other resources. However, Lu Ming was too lazy to go. He planned to concentrate on cultivating various secret skills. Time passed quickly. Half a year's time passed quickly. The resource treaty would be held soon. On this day, Lu Ming received a message from sect leader Wang of Feng City Sword Sect, inviting him to a gathering. Lu Ming came to the square on the highest sword peak of Feng City Sword Sect and found that there were already many people there. Brother Mu, over here. As soon as Lu Ming arrived, Han Xiling waved at him. Lu Ming walked over and found that there were more than a dozen young men and women beside Han Xiling. They were all the young geniuses of Feng City Sword Sect. Among them, Wang Zhanke was also there. However, when he saw Lu Ming, he just looked confused and did not recognize Lu Ming. That was because the memory of Lu Ming had been cut off by sect leader Wang. Is the resource treaty going to be held? Lu Ming asked. Yes, these are the strongest young geniuses of our Feng City Sword Sect, Han Xiling said. Lu Ming nodded and sized up these young geniuses of Feng City Sword Sect. 4 of them had the same cultivation as Han Xiling. They were all 6th-level Divine Lords. One of them was a 7th-level Divine Lord. He looked a little arrogant. Everyone also sized up Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not hide his aura. Hence, everyone was very clear about Lu Ming's cultivation. 5th-level Divine Lord. They did not care about Lu Ming's cultivation. They were just curious because they had not seen Lu Ming before. Perhaps he was secretly groomed by the sect. Everyone thought in their hearts. At this time, a group of people walked out of the hall above the square. Among them, there were 5 young men and women. Each of them looked arrogant and their eyes grew on top of their heads. Sect leader Wang and some elders carefully accompanied them by the side. Chapter 3756. Who are these guys? Lu Ming asked curiously. Those 5 young men and women actually needed sect leader Wang and the rest to accompany them. Don't speak if you don't know anything. The one who spoke wasn't Han Xiling, but the 7th-level Divine Lord Youth. His name was Qi Ping, and he was the #1 expert among the younger generation of Feng City Sword Sect. He was stronger than Han Xiling, Wang Zhangke, and the rest. He cast a cold glance at Lu Ming and continued, "If you don't know anything, don't spout nonsense. Be careful not to get yourself into big trouble. Those few geniuses are external help that the sect leader has invited from outside. All of them are from powerful clans on the primordial 10,000 clans list. Furthermore, they are not ordinary clans. They are ranked at least within the top 3,000. So they are external aid," Lu Ming said in a low voice, not even looking at Qi Ping. This kid. Qi Ping's eyes flashed coldly when he saw that Lu Ming actually dared to ignore him. He was the #1 genius of Feng City Sword Sect. He had a bright future. When the disciples of Feng City Sword Sect saw him, which one of them wasn't respectful? Lu Ming, a disciple who appeared out of nowhere, actually dared to ignore him. In his opinion, this was an insult to him. Of course, his tone wasn't friendly. He felt that reprimanding Lu Ming was something he should do. "Humph, you dare to ignore me? You will regret it." Qi Ping snorted coldly in his heart. He then looked at the 5 external aid geniuses and immediately put on a smile on his face. He went forward and cupped his fists. "Junior Qi Ping greets Brother Han and Brother Yin. Mm. The 5 young men and women casually glanced at Qi Ping and faintly grunted. They didn't put Qi Ping in their eyes at all. In their eyes, the so-called genius of the Fengdu Sword Sect could not withstand a single blow. If Feng City Sword Sect hadn't paid a huge price to invite them, they wouldn't even bother to come here. Being looked down upon by the 5 external aid geniuses, Qi Ping's face was still full of smiles. He nodded and bowed like a servant. What a disgrace. Han Xiling snorted coldly. Her face didn't look good. Feng City Sword Sect's #1 genius acting like this had embarrassed the entire Feng City Sword Sect. Qi Ping stepped down. Sect leader Wang couldn't stand it anymore and said, "Sect leader, it's fine. I'll accompany Brother Han and the others." Qi Ping shamelessly refused to leave. In his opinion, this was a rare opportunity. As long as he could befriend these geniuses from the big clans, he would have a meteoric rise in the future. Seeing this, sect leader Wang's face darkened. "Done," sect leader Wang said, attracting everyone's attention. "The Resource Alliance will be held in 3 days. Every faction will send out 16 geniuses to participate in the competition. My Fengdu Sword Sect will send you guys." The Resource Alliance is related to the resources of the plentiful City Sword Sect for a long time in the future. It is related to the development of the sect. Therefore, this time, you must do your best to bring glory to the sect. "We will do our best," Han Xiling and the others shouted. The 5 Sky Prides looked on indifferently. Their eyes were filled with disdain and mockery. From their point of view, the plentiful City Sword Sect would have to rely on them for this Resource Alliance. Relying on the Fengdu Sword Sect? The highest was only 7th-level Divine Lord? What was the use of that? Among the 5 of them, the one with the lowest cultivation was an 8th-level Divine Lord. "All right, let's go," sect leader Wang announced. This time, the Resource Alliance was held on a planet called Grain Planet. Gilu Star, Alliance City, was the place where the Resource Alliance would be held every time. After they arrived, there was still a day before the Resource Alliance would begin. They stayed in a vast palace. This was the encampment of the plentiful City Sword Sect in the Alliance City. The Alliance City was bustling. Lu Ming and Han Xiling had just arrived, so they naturally walked around. When they returned to their residence in the evening, they were blocked by a few people. They were the 5 Sky Prides. Now, Lu Ming already knew which clans the 5 Sky Prides were from. 2 of them were from the Sacred Heart clan. The Sacred Heart clan was ranked 1790th on the list of 10,000 primitive clans. The other 3 were from the Purple-Eyed Golden Goose clan. They were ranked 1930 on the list of 10,000 primitive clans. They were all from the top 2,000 clans and were famous in the primitive universe. Their clan talents were strong, and they were full of sky prides. Among the 5, 1 was an 8th-level Divine Lord, 3 were 9th-level Divine Lords, and a young man from the Sacred Heart clan who was a quasi-emperor. He was not an ordinary quasi-emperor, but a quasi-emperor sky pride with strong combat power. His name was Han Feng. Han Feng looked at Han Xiling with a burning gaze. "Miss Xiling, what a coincidence. We are going to have a drink and a meal. Why don't we go together?" Han Feng said, his evil eyes sweeping over Han Xiling's body unscrupulously. Han Xiling was very beautiful, but she had a heroic spirit that made people want to conquer her. Han Xiling's face darkened. She felt uncomfortable being stared at. "Sorry, I'm tired. I want to go back and rest," Han Xiling said. Obviously, this was an excuse. Would a divine lord be tired so easily? As expected, Han Feng's face darkened. "Han Xiling, what do you mean by this? Do you take us for fools? You're tired? Haha, Brother Feng is giving you face by asking you to go for a meal. Don't be so shameless. You should know that even your sect leader is polite in front of us." Another young man from the Sacred Heart clan said coldly. Han Xiling's face darkened. The other party was a sky pride from a large clan. She could not afford to offend him. However, Han Feng obviously had bad intentions toward her. She definitely did not want to go with Han Feng. Otherwise, it would be more dangerous. "Sorry, Miss Xiling has already agreed to go for a meal with me. You're late." Lu Ming interrupted. Instantly, a few cold gazes landed on Lu Ming. There was disdain and warning in their eyes. "Kid, is there something wrong with your brain, or you don't know how to appreciate kindness? Get lost." Another young man from the Sacred Heart clan said coldly. Although Han Feng did not say anything, his eyes were very cold. If it was an ordinary person, they would have known how to appreciate kindness. However, Lu Ming did not know how to appreciate kindness. "Miss Xiling, let's go. I'll cook for you personally." Lu Ming did not look at Han Feng and the rest. He smiled at Han Xiling and walked toward the door. Han Xiling understood and hurriedly followed him. "Kid, you're courting death." Another young man from the Sacred Heart clan said coldly. A cold, murderous intent broke out from his body and rushed toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold and was about to strike. "Everyone, please calm down." Sect leader Wang's figure flashed, and he quickly stopped the group. With the Emperor God around, they naturally could not make a move. "Sect leader Wang, this is the disciple of your Fengdu sword sect? He's really arrogant and condescending." Han Feng said coldly. Sect leader Wang smiled bitterly. He did not expect that Lu Ming and Han Feng would go against each other even before the Resource Alliance agreement began. He did not want to offend either of them. Chapter 3757. Han Feng was from the Sacred Heart race, which was a powerful race ranked 1,790th on the primitive 10,000 races list. Moreover, his cultivation had already reached the quasi-emperor realm, and he was extremely powerful. He had spent a lot of money to invite him over. He naturally did not dare to offend him. However, Lu Ming was terrifyingly talented and powerful. He could easily defeat a quasi-emperor at the 5th-level Divine Lord realm. He did not know what kind of background such a person had. He felt that Lu Ming was unfathomable. He was also very useful for the Resource Alliance this time, so he did not dare to offend him. Therefore, he was in a difficult position. "Young Master Han Feng, can you give this old man some face and let this matter go? This old man will definitely send you a gift as an apology." Finally, sect leader Wang cupped his fists and said to Han Feng. Han Feng narrowed his eyes slightly. Sect leader Wang was actually apologizing to him for a 5th-level Divine Lord realm person. He was obviously protecting Lu Ming. Could it be that this old man is related to that kid? That kid is this old man's descendant. Otherwise, why would he be like this? Han Feng's mind was racing. He definitely did not think that sect leader Wang was so protective of Lu Ming because his talent was too terrifying. He only thought that Lu Ming was related to sect leader Wang. All right, since sect leader Wang has spoken, then let's forget about today's matter. However, Sect leader Wang, you have to teach your people well. Don't think too highly of yourself and be too arrogant. Otherwise, when you travel in the primitive universe in the future, you won't even know how you died. Han Feng said to sect leader Wang in a lecturing tone. He knew that if sect leader Wang and Lu Ming were really related, sect leader Wang would definitely not allow him to touch Lu Ming. Today, he could not touch Lu Ming. It was a good opportunity to get some benefits and find a way out. Humph. Han Feng waved his sleeves and strode away. Before he left, he glanced coldly at Lu Ming. The others also left with Han Feng. Lu Ming smiled casually. If he really wanted to fight, would he be afraid of Han Feng? Even if he was a top genius, Lu Ming was not afraid of him with his current battle strength. After greeting sect leader Wang, Lu Ming walked into the palace. The next day, in a plaza in the center of the Alliance City, there was a sea of people. Today was the day when the 18 universe-level powers of the Iron Sea Star Field Group would convene their resource alliance. Many people from small forces came to watch. Above the square, rows of white jade chairs floated in the air. The white jade seats were divided into 18 different areas, each representing a different faction. Lu Ming and the others followed sect leader Wang and sat in one of the areas. Sitting there, Zhang Xian was able to see the entire region beneath him. It seems like every force has invited some terrifying foreign aid. An elder beside sect leader Wang said with a solemn expression. Sect leader Wang nodded with a stern expression. He scanned his surroundings and carefully observed the young men of the other 18 factions. From their life force, it was easy to tell that some of the young men came from powerful clans with high cultivation. They were all invited foreign aid. This time, it's going to be difficult. Some of the factions even invited the top few hundred geniuses. I heard that some of them are exceptionally powerful. Although they are only quasi-emperors, they can fight with immortal emperors. An elder of the Feng City Sword sect sighed. Yes, I heard about it too. However, we don't care about the top few factions. I wonder how powerful the foreign aid that Black Blood Hall and White Witch sect have invited is. Another elder said. The Feng City Sword sect did not think about the few factions that were too powerful. They definitely could not compete with them. Their goal was to enter the top 10. As long as they could enter the top 10, they would be able to obtain some good resource planets. In the future, the overall strength of the Feng City Sword sect would be enhanced. Therefore, they were concerned about the few competitors, such as Black Blood Hall and White Witch sect, who were aiming to enter the top 10. The people of the Feng City Sword sect were observing the others, and the others were observing each other as well. The local geniuses of the various factions were well aware of the situation. The change this time came from the foreign aid. Whoever invited the most powerful foreign aid would be able to obtain a good ranking. The region in the north belonged to the Great Heavenly Sect. The Great Heavenly Sect was the undisputed #1 faction in the Iron Sea Star Zone. They were sitting on the white jade chairs with a confident look on their faces. They had the right to be confident. Not only were they powerful local geniuses, but the foreign aid they had invited this time was also terrifying. They had invited the geniuses of the Ziying tribe this time. How powerful was the Ziying tribe? They were ranked 99 on the Eldritch 10,000 tribe board. The geniuses that they had invited this time were exceptionally powerful. They were quasi-emperors who could fight with immortal emperors. This time, the first place would definitely be theirs again. Could the other factions invite the geniuses of the top 100 factions? What a joke. At this moment, an elder flew over and whispered a few words to the sect leader of the Great Heavenly Sect. The sect leader of the Great Heavenly Sect was shocked. He stood up from his seat and attracted the attention of the other factions. However, the sect leader of the Great Heavenly Sect could not be bothered. He said to the elder, "Are you telling the truth?" "Absolutely. They will be here soon." The elder said, "Why is that person here suddenly?" "I don't care. Hurry. Let's go and welcome them." The sect leader of the Great Heavenly Sect said hurriedly. He led a few elders and flew into the distance. The people from the other factions were curious. What could make the sect leader of the Great Heavenly Sect leave in such a hurry? What happened? The crowd could only wait patiently. They did not wait for long before the sect leader of the Great Heavenly Sect and the rest returned. However, there were a few more people when they returned. One of them was wearing a white robe and a bamboo hat. A white veil hung from the side of the bamboo hat, covering her body and appearance. However, many people could tell that she was a woman. Behind her were two people who were wearing the same clothes as her. However, they were not wearing white but black. The sect leader of the great, heavenly sect carefully accompanied the white-robed woman. He was half a step behind her with a respectful look on his face. The crowd looked at each other. Who was this person? She was so important that the sect leader of the great heavenly sect went to welcome her personally. Moreover, he was so respectful. Needless to say, this person must have a powerful background. They were either extremely powerful seniors, or they were existences with shocking backgrounds. Many divine emperors extended their spiritual senses to check the cultivation level of these people. However, they were repelled by a powerful force and could not get close to them. Their faces changed, and they did not dare to test them again. The sect leader of the great heavenly sect asked the three of them to sit on the white jade chairs respectfully. Then, he stepped into the air and came to the sky above the square. He was in charge of the Resource Alliance this time. Chapter 3758. Alright, since everyone is here, let's start the Resource Alliance. I believe everyone knows the rules. Like before, every faction will send out 16 people to participate. There will be 2 rounds, and the points will be accumulated. After the 2 rounds, whichever faction has the highest accumulated points will be ranked first. The rankings will be based on the points. The first round will be a team battle. However, it won't be a team competition. Instead, the team will enter in a race space to kill desolate beasts and earn points. The second round will be the classic arena battle. Lots will be drawn, and the teams will fight in pairs. It's best to calculate the points according to the rankings of each faction. Alright, those who are going to fight, come up. I want to record it. The Great Heaven Sect leader simply announced the rules. As for the specific rules, everyone already knew about them. Lu Ming, Han Xiling, and the rest stood up and stepped forward to the space in front. The other factions did the same. Every faction had 16 people. They were all young men and women. Some were cold, some were arrogant, and so on. Opposite Lu Ming and the rest, there was a faction Sky Pride sizing them up. This faction was the Black Blood Hall. The people from the Black Blood Hall swept their gazes across them and finally landed on Lu Ming. Hee, the Feng City Sword Sect even sent out a 5th-level Divine Lord. Is there no one else to send? Definitely no one. How many Sky Prides can the Feng City Sword Sect send out? Moreover, with their strength, how many external aids can they get? What a disgrace. I heard that the Feng City Sword Sect is ambitious and wants to rush into the top 10. With such strength, it's a fool's dream. They better not be at the bottom. The few Sky Prides from the Black Blood Hall sneered and discussed. They did not suppress their voices, and it spread out clearly. Many people heard it. Some people from the other forces glanced at Lu Ming, revealing looks of disdain. A 5th-level Divine Lord was indeed not enough. These words made the other Sky Prides from the Feng City Sword Sect turn red with embarrassment. I don't know what the sect leader is thinking. He actually allowed this trash to participate in the Resource Alliance and embarrassed us. The number 1 Sky Pride from the Feng City Sword Sect, Chi Ping, snorted. He was very unhappy. That's right. The other people from the Fengdu Sword Sect quickly agreed. However, Lu Ming's expression remained calm. He had done all of this on purpose. If he did not release his aura, these people would not be able to sense his cultivation at all. He deliberately released his aura so that these people could sense it and make them look down on him. If these people looked down on him, it would be easier for him to take action later. If his performance was too dazzling at the beginning, he would be targeted instead. The sect leader of the Great Heaven Sect took out a jade token. The jade token shone brightly and shone on everyone. This way, their auras would be recorded. It would be impossible to change people halfway through. Then, the Great Sky Sect leader waved his hand, and a total of 18 array discs flew into the sky. 18 formation plates floated in one direction, emitting a bright light. Then, with the formation plates as the center, pitch-black vortexes appeared one after another. This was a spatial tunnel. All right, For the first round, every force will enter an array space. These 18 array spaces are the same, and the strength of the desolate beasts inside are about the same. Your objective in entering is to hunt down the desolate beasts, find the crystal cores in the desolate beasts, and bring them out. However, let me tell you, not all desolate beasts have crystal cores. In fact, there are very few desolate beasts that have crystal cores. Moreover, there are 3 types of crystal cores. The first type is the black crystal core, which is worth 1 point. The second type is the silver crystal core, which is worth 10 points. The third type is the gold crystal core, which is worth 100 points. The time limit is 3 days. After 3 days, you will be automatically teleported out. At that time, the total points obtained by each force will be tabulated. Go in, the Great Sky Sect leader announced. Swoosh, 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 the geniuses of the 18 forces moved and flew towards the spatial vortex above their heads. They rushed into the spatial vortex and disappeared. Lu Ming, Han Xiling, and the rest also flew into the vortexes and disappeared. The emperor gods of the various forces could only wait patiently. This was a contest between the younger generation. They could not interfere. They could only pray silently that their side could achieve a good result. Lu Ming flew into the vortexes. In the next moment, he appeared on a plane. Beside him, Han Xiling, Qi Ping, Wang Zhangke, Han Feng, and the rest were together. Next, what should we do? Which direction should we go first? A Fengdu sword sect disciple asked. Hunting the desolate beasts was easy. However, there were not many desolate beasts that had crystal cores. It was not easy to obtain crystal cores. They had to plan carefully. What should we do? It's simple. Split up. The one who spoke was Han Feng. Split up? The sect leader has warned us that the desolate beasts here are very fast. We need to surround them so that we can kill them faster. If we split up, our efficiency will be greatly reduced. Han Xiling said, surround them together? Hee. With your strength? To put it bluntly, joining forces with you will only hinder us. Our efficiency will be even lower. Do you understand? Han Feng sneered with a look of disdain. You. Han Xiling's face was flushed red. That's right. Especially Mu Yun. With such a low cultivation, he will only be a hindrance if he follows us. Let's split up. Qi Ping added. His eyes flickered as if he was planning something bad. After saying that, he cupped his fists at Han Feng and said with a flattering face, Young Master Han, I think that if Mu Yun alone is not enough, the rest will be of some help. Young Master Han Feng, why don't you bring them along? That's fine too. Let's do it this way. Mu Yun, you go alone. Han Feng looked at Lu Ming and said indifferently, How can you let Brother Mu go alone? We need Brother Mu's combat strength. Han Xiling said loudly, Need his strength? Ha ha ha, a 5th-level divine monarch? Ha ha ha. Han Feng, Qi Ping, and the rest laughed contemptuously. Miss Xiling, it's fine. I will go alone. At this moment, Lu Ming spoke. He did not care. He had promised sect leader Wang that he would do his best. Going alone was going to be the same as going with many people. As long as he had a clear conscience, it was fine. As for what kind of results he could achieve, he could not be bothered. Brother Mu, I will go with you. Han Xiling said and came to Lu Ming's side. No, you have to go with us. This time, I am the leader. Han Feng shouted coldly, his eyes revealing a look of jealousy. Yesterday, he invited Han Xiling for a meal but was rejected by Han Xiling and wanted to follow Lu Ming. Now, she actually wanted to follow Lu Ming, which made him furious. Who was Lu Ming? How could he be compared to him? You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.